Where will you find the solace and the refuge without basketball?
Yeah, that's been a challenge for me. And recently it's been watching my daughter play volleyball. Because I can watch her play volleyball and I don't know about volleyball. So unlike basketball, I'm not breaking it down. I'm not looking at it in that lens. I'm literally just there screaming my lungs out, being a supportive dad.
First up, we have someone that we're all excited for, our favorite auntie, multi-platinum Grammy artist, Monica. Next up, we have 17-year NBA veteran, 3-time Sixth Man of the Year recipient, and leading bench scorer in NBA history, Lou Williams. Make some noise. Without further ado, we welcome and introduce our special guest, Grammy-nominated artist and entrepreneur, Quavo. Make some noise.
Atlanta, pleasure to be here. I haven't been here in a long time. I forgot how beautiful the place is.
I think that's a great place to start with Atlanta. Mav had a great dinner at his house where I just show up and drink great wine and eat food and bring nothing to the table.
Zero.
One of the guests there was Tyler, the Creator. And he was wearing the Atlanta hat he always wears. And I said, what is it about Atlanta? You're not even from Atlanta, but you always rep it. And he was like, man, I hate to say it. And he paused. He was like, Atlanta's the closest thing to Wakanda we have. But he said it with a sense of pride. He wasn't trying to be funny. He's like, it really is. So you guys have spent the majority of your lives here. Have you always felt that? Do you know that's special? Do you know that's specific to Atlanta? It doesn't really exist anywhere else?
For sure, we the culture. You know what I'm saying? We the wave, we the culture. Every time you need some style, you need some sauce, you gotta come down to the South. You gotta come to the A. So we the wave, we the trendsetters, and that's how it starts, the culture wave.
But Atlanta also always had this chip, too, because it was like, what we want to be seen, we're not seen. We feel like we're not seen. But Atlanta now has the biggest music scene as far as hip hop and R&B, and it's basically like what Nashville is to kind of rock. Atlanta became that, to me, a long time ago. But do you guys, or Monica, is it still a feeling here of like, we still have that chip, we want to be seen?
For me, okay, my perspective is, I come from the south side of Atlanta. I'm in my 43rd year of life. So I was able to see the music evolve from then to now. And the reality is that the chip that you see or the tension that you sometimes think you're experiencing is because we know you see us. You copy us, you borrow things from us, but there's no credit given. Say Atlanta is the Say I like the way Monica dresses. Say I like the way Quavo, when he moves a certain way. You know when you see Quavo. So it's that thing that we understand that we give love that we don't always get back.
But what would credit look like to you as artists that you would want other people to give you for you to get that feeling of like, okay, now they see us?
When Andre 3000 said the South got something to say, that's exactly what we mean. We always represent ourselves to the fullest. We don't look to be anybody else. So when we speak on other places, we speak with high regard. Because I was the little girl that people said couldn't, because I wasn't from New York, because I wasn't in LA, because I was not technically trained, because I did not have the silver spoon background. I shot my first video standing on top of the Checkers on Old National. So there aren't a lot of artists that have that kind of history, you know? But I also can say that we are ground builders. We're barrier breakers, because they used to tell us we would have to go to New York. So the man like Dallas Austin that signed me and changed my life created Dark Studios, which is now owned by Future, which it can be passed on to other people and other greats. So we create a space for each other now. And it would just simplistically mean saying that that is great to us. You are fly to us, like I would say about New York, like I say about Cali, Cleveland.
There was a time, I can tell you as a fan of hip hop, this is for you, Quavo, as a fan of hip hop in New York, where you could tell the sound shifted. Did you feel that here? Did you feel that as a rapper, hip hop, Atlanta, that the culture had shifted and the center of the energy was here in Atlanta?
Yeah, especially when we came out, and long live the Rocket, by the way. But when we came with the flow, it just took the world by storm. But when people did the flow and recreated it and, you know what I'm saying, copied the flow, we ain't get mad. We just embraced it because we was finally feeling like we accomplished something, you know what I'm saying, that, like she said, the South had something to say.
In doing the research for the show, I do research for this show, you actually committed to University of Georgia, right?
Yeah.
You ended up going straight out of high school to the pros.
Yeah, it's partly Mav's fault why I never made it to college.
Speak on it then. This is a shot. Speak on it. Speak on it.
It's partly Mav's fault. I had an opportunity to meet Mav and Bron on a Tuesday in Atlanta, and Jay-Z had a show that coming Thursday. So Mav actually stayed in Atlanta and took me to Jay-Z's show on Thursday, and I got to kick it for hours, just me and Jay, vibing out. And I went to school the next day, and I realized I was nothing like nobody else in the class.
I told him to stay in school, by the way.
So I took that experience, and I realized I wasn't going to nobody college. You know what I'm saying?
So let me ask, so you go from a high school senior, you get drafted into the NBA by the Philadelphia 76ers, and you're Allen Iverson's teammate.
Yeah.
What's that?
Wow.
Are you 18, 19, 17? How old are you?
I'm 17, so not only am I'm AI's teammate, but that's my idol. Like, he's the reason I got tattoos. I modeled my game after him. I worship the ground this dude walked on. So to have an opportunity to work with him for the first 4 years of my career and for him to embrace me, you know, I thought that was so important. And he never looked at me as competition. He never looked at me as anything other than his little brother. And that was so instrumental for me coming in.
Every day, artists have to wake up and create, come up with something new, a new sound, a new song, new way of walking, a new way of dress, like
A new TikTok dance.
a new
something,
TikTok.
just-
Something
yes.
every day you have to, your job is to create something that entertains us. But as an artist, if you stick around long enough, you have to reinvent yourself. How do you know when to do that? And then what is your process? Is there, do you go talk to people? Do you just deal with it yourself? Do you have your team help you?
Honestly, for me, I think what sustains me and keeps me connected is the authenticity. I'ma always be me. I'm always the same. You're never gonna see me in a different environment and get a different person. And that allows me to not just reinvent myself, but to evolve. I'm just evolving. When you met me and I was singing Just One of Them Days, I was 12 years old.
Wow.
That's a big difference
crazy.
in
Wow.
now. I never experienced the prom. I never experienced the regular graduation or the things that other people were doing. So those life sacrifices allowed me to say when enough was enough. When my uncle was murdered, enough was enough. When I gave birth for the first time, enough was enough. I took a little time off, but with my second child, I took 4 years off. If you don't do that, you lose yourself in this space. And that's why what you see as a lot of the successful people, when we recognize that, you find out a lot of them have mental health issues. A lot of them have taken their own lives. It's because they lose who they are. They are just a shell of themselves trying to create product for you.
I don't think there's anyone in this room, maybe there's a couple people that know what it's like to live such a public life, right? So it's like you may be going through, I need you to get a bucket and get a W tonight. You may be going through, where's the album? What time are you on stage? How have you guys dealt with that through your careers of just dealing with whether it's something as drastic as tragedy or just everyday life and still having to go up there on stage or on the court and perform for your fans?
I've always used basketball as a refuge. You know, I think no matter all the that you go through, people asking for stuff, expectations, kids, you know, just regular life. I've always used basketball for those 2.5 hours. You can't bother me.
So Lou, now without basketball, what will you do?
You know, honestly, man, What we do, Quay?
Get some wings.
I'm about to say,
You dig what I'm saying?
and chop it up or something. What would you
that's
find
been a-
that?
that's been a
Where would you
challenge for
find
me.
the solace and the refuge without basketball?
Yeah, that's been a challenge for me. And recently, it's been watching my daughter play volleyball, because I can watch her play volleyball, and I don't know about volleyball. So unlike basketball, I'm not breaking it down. I'm not looking at it in that lens. I'm literally just there screaming my lungs out, being a supportive dad.
What type of volleyball dad is Lou Will? Are you quiet? Are you like, call it both ways? Like what type
You know
of dad
what?
are you at the
In
games?
volleyball, you can't really cheat like that. It's either the ball in
It's
or
in or
it's
out,
out.
yes.
You know what I'm saying?
no
Either it's in or
fouls,
out. But yeah, see, but basketball, football, those
Basketball
environments
will
are
bring it
completely-
out
He's
of
right.
you.
Yeah, that's a good
yeah.
point.
What type
And
of basketball mom are you,
No,
Monica?
Yeah,
don't ask
it's
that.
completely different
Volleyball is
environment.
objective. It's in or out.
Yeah,
I'm
so
a loud basketball mom.
I can believe that.
I'm
I
real
can believe
over the
that.
top.
Yeah.
And then, but the affirmations that I give my son before he goes on the court are the same affirmations I give my daughter before gymnastics, and the same affirmations I give my two oldest sons when they making music. You are the greatest. If you don't believe it, then they won't believe it. You make them believe. Every time you walk out the door, we don't come from failure.
Absolutely. I think, Mav, we have been a little disrespectful since we hit the stage. We've been directing all of our athlete questions to Lou Will. Quavo, obviously, you a hooper, get buckets. We've all seen you on the celebrity circuit. What I didn't know is starting quarterback of his high school team. Did you know that?
I know Quavo personally, so I've heard it many times.
Yeah.
You had a show. It was like a Thursday or Friday. I saw you. You had a show in Vegas, but you were like, "Yo, I'm flying to Atlanta," and I was like, "Why would you go to Atlanta to come back?" But talk about why you was like, "Yo, I gotta go to Atlanta and get the feel."
I feel like when I dropped my first album, I was on tour. I was having fun, but it did great. But at the same time, when I go back and listen to it, I'm like, I can't believe I put some of these verses out because I was just having so much fun. But like this time with this album, I just felt like, you know what I'm saying, I had to just get, you know what I'm saying, super personal and, you know what I'm saying, let them know how I feel. And it's a lot, but at the same time, they give me that, you know what I'm saying, that name as the honcho. And then when God bless you with a lot of, you know what I'm saying, with a lot of blessings to bless your family, you got to just stand tall and fight through the storm.
Let me ask you, Quavo, how do you balance that? How do you balance dealing with real life challenges, grief, and the responsibility of being an artist and fans and business and all that stuff?
That's what I'm saying. That's something I can't tell you till I get past. Like right now, you looking at me in the core, in the eye of the storm, you know what I'm saying? So when I get through it, I can tell you.
That's dope, man. Listen, man, we're on your side, supporting you through
For
it.
sure.
I do want to take a little bit of a pivot and come to you, Monica. How many moms do we have in the crowd? We have a lot of moms. We have moms. God bless the moms. Let's give the moms a hand, everybody. Come on. Yeah. You know,
Moms are underrated.
undefeated, the moms. I think, you know.
Mama.
You always wear both those hats, right? You're always mom, artist. How's that? And you've done it throughout your career beautifully. What's that? How do you strike that balance?
Honestly, there's no balance. Family first. It's that simple for me. And it's one of those things that I understood came with sacrifice. I may not get all the deals. I may not be at every award show. I may not be present in every room, but I'm present in my kid's life. That's one place I don't want to be replaced. I can't be replaced. I'm not interested in someone else doing it for me. I want to be there.
So I was joking with Lou Will in the back, and I wasn't joking. I was saying he looks like he could still give a team 15, 20
For
minutes
sure he
and a
can.
hell of a lot of buckets.
He's gonna look like that at 60.
How do you know when it's time to say, you know what? It's been a good run.
When it's not fun no more. I just found more joy in being with my kids. You know, I wanted my kids to feel like I was present, and so at the end of my career, it was more fun to me to be around them than to be on the road. And so I just knew it was time to focus my energy on that.
And you still could play. You probably still could get more in the vet minimum, which in the NBA with the salaries raising is millions of dollars. But you decided also you're smart enough, you're an entrepreneur, you're gonna go figure it out in other ways. So talk about that.
When I said I was gonna retire from basketball, I told my family I was gonna take a year off completely and just enjoy life and just travel, do what the I wanted to do. And I'm in like month 10 and I'm bored as because I'm so trained to go.
Yeah.
Like since 17 years old, I've always had structure in my schedule. 6 months we're gonna be in season, 6 months off, and that's how I've lived my entire adult life.
The three of you have had the highest level of success, tours, album sales, awards, 6 Men of the Year award, 17 seasons. What's kept you guys inspired through your journey?
For me, it was kind of easy because like all my favorite artists, like growing up, like Gucci and everybody from the South, T.I., Hot Boys, Wayne. Once we came out, they just started making hits off our flow. So it just felt like we was doing something so right that we couldn't go wrong. So everything that we put out, we were just like, all right, cool, we're gonna put this out. All right, cool, here come Versace, we're gonna put this out. All right, bet, Stir Fry, we're gonna put this out. Here come Bad and Bougie. We just started having so much fun. And then when you look back, you just like, damn, I created history.
I think in sports, there's just always something, like there's always a goal to attain. Whether you want to up your average, you want to win championships, you want to make more money, you want to put as many accolades on your resume as you can to be considered a Hall of Famer at the end of your run. So I think, in basketball, for me, it's just always a goal to attain. I think that's what kept me inspired throughout my career. And once I got to a place where I wasn't inspired no more, I walked away from it.
Hold on, so to that, we used to give ourselves like 3-year, 5-year, now 10-year plans. Like 3-year, we want to be performing on stage somewhere on TV. You know what I'm saying? 5 years, we want to be nominated for a Grammy. In 10 years, we want to be, just here to stay. And like, if you're an artist, you should just give yourself like a 3-year setup. Okay, I got 3, now I want to do 5. I got 5, now I want to do 7. I got 7, I want to do 10. Then 10, you in there. Once you in there with 10, you all right. We just did 10 this year.
Congrats, by the way. That's by the way, that's called strategy. That's any business has that. That's business strategy. And so you don't make decisions today that might be good for you today, but you up in 5 years, that you have to really do that to be thoughtful about it.
I mean, I would love to be able to tell a story about us having a plan. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. I was 9 years old singing The Greatest Love of All, and my motivation at the time was my mother was getting married, and, we got in my cousin's 280 Datsun with no air conditioning in the dead of the heat in the summertime, and we went to center stage because I wanted to win the $1,000 prize. But what in actuality happened was Dallas and all these other people were in the audience. So I got the $1,000. That was the goal. But what I learned in those moments is that there's a plan for all of our lives, and it's orchestrated by somebody bigger than every person in this room. And what was meant to happen was for my life to change that day. And I was able to really enjoy my career because I didn't have any expectations. I was not looking at stats. I was not worried about awards. I'm actually a person that for all the records I've broken, I really have never won any awards. I'm really the most forgotten if you think about it. I'm pretty much the underdog, but I sit very comfortably in it because I can still go where I want, do what I want, live how I want. But when I say that I am often forgotten, I was hosting the Soul Train Awards, was nominated for 5, 3 of my songs in one category and still lost. But I went out to eat and kicked my regular after. I was not bothered because that's not what I do it for.
That's dope.
That is really my point when I say that oftentimes I'm forgotten in those spaces.
What we all want to know in this room is, what did 11-year-old Monica do with that $1,000 prize? What you spend that $1,000 on?
Oh, my mother was getting married. We just wanted to give it to her.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, we just wanted to give it to her. We
That's
thought
fine.
like,
That's
oh,
fine.
we'll go
That's
get
fine.
this little, we thought that was the
That's
bag.
awesome.
We'll go get the bag.
We made it, Mom. We made it.
We did it. And then
Better
just
than
give
me.
it to her. But everything
I
I've
was
always
going to
done
say,
has...
no shot I would have did that.
11 years old, I'm blowing that cheese. Without a doubt. I got McDonald's money now.
Our first show was $1,000. We split it 3 ways. 33, 33, 33. Sheesh.
So now one of my favorite parts, we're gonna open it up, I believe, for questions in the audience.
You talked a lot about personal growth today, but where do you want to see Atlanta in 10 years? Like, what do you want to see for Atlanta in 10 years?
The city, I think, is growing rapidly. If you talk about the successes in Atlanta, there's a lot of greatness here. I think if it continues to thrive at this pace, it will be in places unimaginable. I would like for us to be able to share what our culture really is better. We're doing everything that we can and will with sports, with music, with movie. That is thriving. But we got to get a handle on the safety here in the city, and we have to get a handle on the way that we share who we are, letting people see what the real Atlanta is like, because there's a vast amount of things that we do here that other people would enjoy. I mean, just like we know New York for certain things, we know in New Orleans they're gonna second line and you're gonna eat good. We know what we know about certain cities. We gotta make sure that people know and understand what the culture is here.
That's dope.
All of us sit right here and just talked about Atlanta and talked about like the staple, talked about us having something to say, talked about like us being not recognized. So it's a lot of it's still some more recognition for us and for our city. So I think it's all about taking over the town, taking over Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? We want to see that big billionaire. We want to see the next Elon Musk from Atlanta and black and come here and, you know, rebuild the city and put jobs in for us. And we support him. We're going to put you in a song. Let's get it.
Thank you guys again.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you all.